Hi everyone, it's July 1st, and this is Jimmy D from AZ, back by popular demand. That's right, the people are asking for more Jimmy. And by the way, I have to apologize. If it looks like I just woke up, there's a reason. I just woke up, and I'm having coffee. And now that Pride Month is over, and it wasn't a real good month for the Democrats, I just want to touch on a few things and maybe help people understand what's going on and why. So I got on an airplane a few years ago, and it was when Obama was president, and there was all the polls in America said that Americans were against nationalized health care, etc. And a Scottish woman asks me, she could hear my accent, so she knew I was American, and she said, I don't understand America. I don't understand it. Why are you against such a good thing as national health care? I said, well, you have to understand a couple things. And I'm glad you asked. America is not a place. America is not a people. Most countries, you can go back into the history and see, well, this group was chased out of their land, and these tribes went here, and they combined with these tribes, and they eventually made a country. And they have a culture that they are trying to keep alive, and they have a belief that this is how their people should be, think, etc. Nothing wrong with it. It's just what they do. This is different. We're not a people. We are people from all over the world. And the people that came here, for the most part, came here to implement something that I'm not sure has ever been done in the world before, and that is the people run the country. And what that really doesn't mean democracy, the majority rules. What it means is the individual is free to take responsibility for his or her own life, not the government. The government has very little power. The government exists to protect your freedom, and you should be free to live your life the way you want to live it. And she listened to all this, and I said, and the big issue with healthcare is simply that. I don't want to turn it over to a corrupt, oversized central government, ineffective, inefficient central government. I want personal freedom to manage my health the way I want to manage it. And in the end, I'll take responsibility for what happens. And she sat there and she looked like I discovered fire. And she said, my God, I'd never had any idea. I feel like I now understand America. And we had a nice chat the rest of her trip. She was going to visit her sister, lived in Virginia, what have you. This is the divide. This country is about the individual. I talked before about the flaws of democracy. Democracy being two wolves and a sheep voting on what's for dinner. And this is the explanation for the divide. Because every time we get a crisis, government implements more control. And you can go back to, and it hasn't happened just in the last 2 years. This has been going on for 100 years. The income tax, the New Deal, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, the biggest scam in the history of the world. I'll cover that someday. Welfare state, Obamacare. Every time they say they use a crisis to take away your rights, and because you're scared and you're more willing to give up your rights. There's a wolf in the forest. I'm scared. Everybody huddle, tell us what to do. Oh, great one. That's the real root cause of all the divide in the country. I can tie every issue back to the philosophical difference between individual freedom and government freedom. And by the way, I'm going to end this by talking about how ridiculous the term progressive is. Hillary Clinton used, well, I'm progressive. I see it online all the time. Well, I'm a progressive. No, you're not. You're not a progressive. You're regressive, if that's a word. The modern progressive wants the control to go to the state, which is what everybody who fled here was trying to get away from. Because the world was run by monarchs, dictators, these various countries, and what did they do? They always tried to extend their borders by going in and taking control of other countries, other people, and you went and you fought and died for the king. And then the king, suppose it would take care of you by allowing you to have a few crumbs. More pottage, sir. So you're not progressive. If you're a Democrat, you are not progressive. You are trying to go backwards. We are progressive. Conservatives, and what I am, a libertarian, we're progressive. Individual freedom is the most progressive idea ever implemented when it comes to politics. That's it. That's the show for today. Hopefully, when you have discussions with your friends who don't get it, you can start with that, because that's where every conversation, including in Washington, needs to start. Will it affect any person's individual freedom? And what's the role of government? That's it. And it needs to be, we cannot ever dip into any individual's personal freedom to implement anything, no matter how noble the cause. But that's what's going on. And it isn't 2 years, folks. This has been going on for 100 years, and we all just look the other way. So get ready, because it's going to get uglier before it gets prettier.